All right. I think I got it right this time. What's going on, Who That Nation? It's yours truly, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Sorry for the technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen. Every time I go live on Streamlabs, it seems to always freeze up. I always have issues with this, so I apologize. I really do. I didn't think that I would have these many problems going on Streamlabs, so I guess I probably gonna have to completely cancel um Streamlabs for right now. Just go live regularly. Um, Good games came on today. Houston, Texas, Buffalo Bills, and a good game between the Tennessee Titans and the New England Patriots right now. Um, Man, that was an exciting game. That was the tale of two halves: the Houston Texans and the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills came out hot as fish grease. Came out there just performing at a very high level. Um, first few plays that they had and to open that game up, the 40-yard run by Josh Allen, and then you had like the little Philly special, John Brown to Josh Allen. That was a pretty good play. Buffalo were just man, they was clicking on all cylinders, man. They really were. They were really putting forth an effort, and they really had me tweeting like, man, Bill O'Brien need to get up out of here because I feel like man, this guy gets his team to the division championships every single year, get them to the playoffs. Then all of a sudden, they always end up laying an egg in the playoffs. But I mean, the second half they came out like their hell was on fire. I mean, the defense played really well. Deshaun Watson was out there wheeling and dealing. I mean, he basically put the team on his back, and that's what it's all about. It's about performing at a high level when the lights are brightest. So um, you got to give credit to them. I got to talk about these referees. Man, I don't know what the heck was going on that kick return in the start the second half. What a boneheaded play because the guy gave himself up, and he ended up throwing the ball. The Buffalo Bill player picked it up, and they're gonna talk about it as a touchdown. Man, I don't know about these referees, man. These referees, they starting to scare me, man. The more I look at these referees, the more I feel like they got an agenda. I'm not going to take anything away from the Houston Texans. I mean, they played tremendously in the second half, but that overtime, man, it had me scratching my head a little bit. There was a couple plays that kind of changed the game. I think about that third down pass. I think that Deshaun Watson threw to DeAndre Hopkins in overtime. He was nowhere near the first down mark. Like he was like maybe like a yard and a half short, and they gave him the first down. And then there was the next play. They click it all the way down to the zeros. It should have been a delay of game penalty. They end up throwing the ball to Duke Johnson for a first down. I'm like, those are very important plays in the game that they didn't call. So even though the Houston Texans, man, I gotta give him credit. Deshaun Watson, that play that he made, man, when he had those two defenders like tee off on him and he still bounced out of it for a pass. Man, that dude there is incredible. But good game all in all. Josh Allen, he showed his youth. A lot of boneheaded plays that he was making. I mean, trying to do way too much. Man, I was just wondering, like, man, like who did Josh Allen owe? Did he owe some money? Did the mob come up to him? You know what I'm saying? And put a gun to the knee. And what's going on here? Like, it seemed like he was just a completely different person in the fourth quarter. It's like he was I don't know, like he had an out-of-body experience or something. You ever seen like Space Jam back in the day, and you had Muggsy Bogues and Larry Johnson and Patrick Ewing, and the Monstars took their talent, and they were just out there like, bumbling idiots or, bumbling fools or whatever. That's kind of what he looked like. I mean, he was out there, man, like taking sacks, losing 15, 20 yards. Then he had that one play where he tried to scramble. He tried to like hook and ladder it back to the tight end. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? Like, it made me wonder, like, man, is the fix in? Like, what the heck is going on? Like, is he trying to sabotage his team or something? Like, is he in a bad spot with even some worse people or something? Like, what is going on here? But nevertheless, man, I mean, I don't know, man. The Buffalo Bills are the Buffalo Bills. I mean, there's a reason why the fan base put themselves through tables because I mean to have to subject yourself to this type of torture year after year. Oh man, I feel so sorry for those guys. But the Houston Texans move on, and they're waiting, I guess, after this game with the Tennessee Titans and the New England Patriots. Should be they should know who they're going to be playing the divisional round of the playoffs. But I'm looking forward to this New Orleans Saints game, and I want to let you all know I do have an audio podcast available, man. Like it's 20 to 30 minutes. I want you all to check it out. It's available on Spotify, and it's also on anchorfm.com. Y'all check it out, the State of the Saints podcast, the audio version. I did it for individuals that been emailing me saying that they wish I can do like a longer podcast, and so I decided to do something audio wise. So I hope y'all enjoy it, man. I only did like 2 episodes of it. I'm probably going to be like a reoccurring thing. So if you want to hear more in-depth news about the New Orleans Saints, or you just want to hear my perspective, I guess, me explain it in a much longer version. I mean, I also put little sound clips in there, interviews or what have you. So just check it out. Let me know what you all think. It's once again, it's on Spotify. Of course, it's the State of the Saints podcast. Check it out. I hope you all enjoy it. But this game right here, the New Orleans Saints, Minnesota Vikings game, I'm telling everybody, I understand how everybody feel. People like the Saints really going to hand it to the Minnesota Vikings. Look, I just don't believe that, man. Teams play their best games and play their best football in January, in the playoffs. I got a lot of respect for the Minnesota Vikings, even though, their fan base a little bit questionable as of late, infiltrating the State of the Saints podcast pages and all other Saints pages talking noise. But I do respect them. They got a lot of good players over there. They got a real good defense. Mike Zimmer understands Sean Payton. He understands his tendencies. So it's going to be a tough game. I don't think that this game is going to be no blowout. I think it's going to be an edge of your seat type game, just like most Saints games are. Saints don't really blow people out. I mean, they blew the Carolina Panthers out last week, but man, them boys had their bags packed. They could care less, man. After Ron Rivera, got fired, that team checked out. They were over and done with. They ain't want no more of the season. So the New Orleans Saints, I mean, they really gonna have to play and execute well. They got to play some of their best football. Kirk Cousins, I know he get a bad rep, but I'm honest with you, man. Kirk Cousins played the Saints really well every time he played them. I mean, I can think back to when he was playing with the Washington Redskins, and that's when the Saints came back with like the 5 minutes left in that fourth quarter. But he played really good in that game, man. So I'm not like buying what everybody else selling about Kirk Cousins. I think this guy can put up some points. I think that he can make some throws. We all know that the Saints sometimes, play down to the competition. I hear people talking, like Janoris Jenkins, referring to Kirk Cousins as a game manager. That's going to be bulletin board material. I just don't think this game is going to be. I don't think that this game is going to be a blowout. And I will say this also. I didn't say this on the podcast. Drew Brees needs to win this game. Drew Brees needs to win this game because Drew Brees needs to submit his legacy, and him getting bounced out the playoffs by individuals like Case Keenum and Kirk Cousins, that cannot be good for your legacy, man. You can't be getting bounced out by guys that you're clearly better than. So you got to go out there and you got to perform, man. Like, you got to put up some points. I mean, think about this. I mean, over the past few years, Drew Brees has been bounced out of the playoffs by Jared Goff, Case Keenum, and if Kirk Cousins can just so happen to get a victory tomorrow, like that, I mean, that's gonna hurt his legacy. Like, we're in a Who Dat Nation, we won't hold it against him, but when you go back and you look at the sands of time and people start analyzing the great quarterbacks, I mean, this stuff is going to come up. So, man, they're going to have to execute. I understand that most of the time it hasn't been Drew's fault. Drew hasn't been on the field to some of the most heartbreaking plays. I mean, it's always like the defense giving something up after Drew Brees goes down and, play, and go down and put the team in a position to kick a field goal or score a touchdown. I completely understand that. But still, man, there was some plays that get left on the field that the Saints wouldn't even be in that position. So they got to win. They got to win this game. And Drew Brees definitely got to win this game for his legacy, man. You do not want to get bounced out by Jared Goff, Case Keenum, and now Kirk Cousins. I mean, that ain't cool. That ain't cool nowhere. But I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna talk about this game, man. Everybody asking like who I think gonna win this game. I mean, it's pretty obvious. I think the Saints gonna win this game. I think the Saints are gonna win this game 27-23. I don't think that they're gonna cover. I just don't. They're 8-point favorite. If they can, I just think that the Saints are a better football team than the Minnesota Vikings. I think the Minnesota Vikings in the secondary, they're kind of banged up. I feel like the Saints are going to have to take advantage of that. I also feel like the Saints need some other wide receivers to step up. Mike Zimmer is one of the best defensive minds in football, okay? And one thing he can do, he can take your best player out of the game. So they're going to be zeroing in on Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara. These other guys are going to have to make plays. I mean, you're going to have to make plays, and I think we have to look to a player named Jared Cook. Okay, we got to look to Jared Cook. I think he needs to step up in this game. Even though the linebackers of the Minnesota Vikings are really good, they're really good at rushing the quarterback. They're really good at tackling. They struggle in the passing game, man. So if you have a running back that can actually catch out of the backfield like Alvin Kamara, I mean, Anthony Barr and crew, they can, they have problems with that. So if the Saints can actually get those matchups, possibly Anthony Barr on Alvin Kamara, or get a slot receiver on Anthony Barr, something like that, make it difficult for them. I think the Saints will be able to be successful. Michael Thomas versus matchup, Xavier Rose is not what he used to be. I know he was all pro at one time, Pro Bowler. But, I mean, he hasn't been the same. I think the injuries are catching up with him. He slowed down. I know he had a couple knee injuries before, so I think that kind of slowed him down, and he's not the same guy anymore. And I think Michael Thomas, even though he's been dealing with a hand injury, he's been limited in practice, I still think he's going to come out there and he's going to perform. I mean, you're not going to stop Michael Thomas from getting the ball. I mean, that's just not going to happen. I mean, you can kind of slow him down, probably, take some of his catches away by double covering him. Maybe Drew will go look at somebody else. But you're not going to stop him. I think the Saints need to run the football. I think they need to run it with Latavius Murray. I think that Latavius Murray this game. I mean, this is a team that he played for. This was a team that actually brought him in from the Oakland Raiders to be the Adrian Peterson after they decided to move on from Adrian Peterson. And then all of a sudden they draft Dalvin Cook. Like all of a sudden, they just made him realize you're not the guy that we want. You're not the guy that we want. We want Dalvin. So they allowed him to go to the Saints. So I think he's going to be inspired in this game. I think they need to give him some carries. I mean, he did a really good job last week. I think he had maybe like 16 carries, about 70-some yards. So, and I also think you need to get Dwayne Washington involved. I just think that, just run the ball, like just run the football, set up the play action, get the ball down the field. Also utilize Alvin Kamara in the passing game, and I think you'll be okay. As far as what the defense is concerned, the defense has to watch out for Dalvin Cook, okay? I mean, the Minnesota Vikings are a really good play action team. And one of the reasons why they're a good play action team is because of Dalvin Cook. I mean, you have to respect his ability of running between the tackles. I mean, you have to be able to respect his ability, to run left and right, get north and south quick. So that sets up the play action for Kirk Cousins. And when Dalvin Cook is getting 4 or 5 yards to carry, that's very helpful to Kirk Cousins. And that's when they start wheeling and dealing and doing these play action passes, getting the ball downfield to Stephon Diggs. So the Saints first, they got to be able to stop the run. You got to be able to neutralize Dalvin Cook in this game. If you neutralize Dalvin Cook, then you'll be able to put pressure on Kirk Cousins. One thing we learned about Kirk Cousins, I mean, he folds under pressure. I mean, when teams are blitzing him, I mean, he gets dazed and confused. I mean, he holds on to the ball and you'll be able to get home with him. you got to be able to put pressure on him. But it all starts with you stopping Dalvin. Stephon Diggs, I think it's going to be a good matchup. Him versus Marshawn Lattimore. I think Lattimore is going to be up to the challenge. And you got Adam Thielen, who be on Janoris Jenkins. I like that matchup as well. Adam Thielen has been dealing with hamstring injuries throughout the season. He hasn't been playing, the way that we, accustomed to seeing him play. And even though Dalvin Cook, I mean, he's an incredible running back. I mean, he's averaged under 5 yards a carry since week 8. So the New Orleans Saints, they got some good defensive players. The linebackers, Kiko Alonso is back. Of course, you got Demario Davis, who's a first-team All-Pro. I mean, you got, I don't know if Manti Te'o going to play in this game or not. You got some guys that can actually run and, get home. So you got to be able to, you got to be able to handle that. And as far as their other receivers like Treadwell, you got Kyle Rudolph in goal line situations. You got Irv Smith Jr. Those guys can make plays. So the Minnesota Vikings has a lot of talent on the offensive side of the ball. So the Saints are going to have to first neutralize. They're going to have to neutralize Dalvin Cook, and then they're going to have to try to put pressure on Kirk Cousins. And the Superdome, the Superdome, the fans that's going to this game tomorrow, if you're listening to the State of the Saints podcast, look, you got to get loud, okay? You got to get loud. You got to get crazy. You got to be the reason why they're calling timeouts, okay? You got to be one of that. Like, we need to replicate the NFC Championship game. We have to. We got to replicate the NFC Championship game, how loud it was in the first quarter. We got to make fits for it. Because we don't know if this is going to be we hope that some things go right. And the Saints end up playing, back in the Superdome, but we don't know that. So, don't leave anything out there. Man, get loud, get crazy. If you haven't lost your voice the next day after this game, then you ain't do your job. Okay. You need to really get loud. You really need to get crazy. You need to, not let them hear, the signals, or the play call, from the headset. Like, make it that loud in there. Okay. Make it crazy. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to do like Atlanta Falcon fans who pipe in crowd noise, get the microphones to make it sound loud up in there when it's not. We can actually make it loud and make it, difficult for the Minnesota Vikings. So I think the Saints, they need to do that. And if they do that, I think they're going to be just fine. But this is going to be a dogfight. I'm going to be honest with you. This is going to be a dogfight. People, I just don't see this game being high scoring. I just don't. If it does, I'll be excited about it, But at the end of the day, I just don't feel that way. I just don't feel like this game is going to be a blowout. I just don't. But that's my prediction. That's my thoughts on the wild card game. But now I open the floor to you all. I also want to let you know you can donate to the State of the Saints podcast by hitting the $sign down below on Super Chats. All right, Jerry Poor. Happy 2020, TJ, and happy New Year. Happy 2020 to you too, Jerry. Thank you for tuning in, man. Appreciate it. Who that 504 boy says, who that nation in this beach? Man, thank you, man. Who that nation 504 boy? Thank you, man, for checking out the podcast. DLP 2600. What up, TJ, man? What's going on? Thank you for checking out the podcast. My guy, Tier 1 Solutions 28. Love y'all. Happy New Year, boys and girls. What's going on, man? Chrissy. Hi, TJ. What's going on, Christy? Man, let's see. Man, I appreciate the love, man. Everybody, chiming in on the live chat. Thank y'all. Tier 1 says, thanks for the show, TJ. I'm grateful for your work. Man, thank you, man. Like, don't thank me, man. Thank you, for what you do, for always tuning in. I really do appreciate that. I really do. Like, everybody that tunes in each and every week, I do these live streams and all my videos that you all watch. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate that. Chosen Kingdom, what's up, man? Who that? TJ, love the new audio podcast. The ESPN music kind of drowns your voice out a little bit, but it's all good. Yeah, man, I noticed that on that. See, the thing about it is when I'm editing, I don't really know until the end. Like, even though when I'm editing, I try to lower the music and up the, and up my voice or whatever, and it sounds good when I'm editing. But when I upload it, it seems like it drowns it out. I noticed that, like, because I use the same software at the radio station I work for when I'm doing like little sound bites or commercials or anything like that. And I do something called History Fact of the Day, and I kind of deal with the same issue. So just bear with me on that. That was my first time actually. Well, it's not my first time doing it, but sometimes like I just don't know. So I apologize for it. Hopefully you heard my predictions. I'm 1-0 right now. I got had the Houston Texans winning, so I'm 1-0 right now. And I had the Patriots winning, so don't look like, well, I might still be right. That game's pretty close right now. I've been hearing trash talk from Vikings saying Cook gonna run over us, but we got it, man. Okay, yeah, they can say whatever they want. That don't mean it's gonna happen. Reps are garbage. Yeah, absolutely, man. Them reps are trash. I don't know. It just the more I look at these reps and how they do things, it just makes me want to like do the NFL, or does the NFL have an agenda? And they're looking that way. It looks like they do. It looks like they got an agenda. And people, say Saints fans, they whine about the refs, but I'm not just whining about the refs about, just for Saints games. I'm talking about for a whole nother team. And I just don't know, man. These refs just make me sick. Like, just call the game. Just call it down the middle. I just feel like in the times that they actually make these bonehead calls just come to question, I guess their ethics, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing? Like, it'd be like late in the game tied, man, they just be making crazy decisions. Kind of nervous for the game tomorrow. I think everybody kind of nervous about the game. I mean, even the coolest head Saints fan is nervous about this game. I mean, it's just the thought of the Saints season being over. I guess to me, you don't want it to be over. I mean, you look at it like, man, it sucks that they call a weekend. It sucks that they actually have to play a game right now. They should have had a bye. Man, all these 13-3 teams. I mean, the Packers, just because they had a better, record versus NFC, like it's just ridiculous, man. The zebra is no joke on that field. Yeah, man, they screwing people over. Buffalo blew it. Had the Texans beat. Oh yeah, cries. No, don't get me wrong. Now they did blow it. Okay, they blew it. Okay, man, they allowed the Houston Texans to come back in the game. So they definitely blew it. Josh Allen, man, I'm telling you, Josh Allen looked like somebody met him in a tunnel at halftime and said, "Hey kid, you're playing pretty well. Thanks, man. It'll be a shame if somebody hits you in the back of the leg and you can't play anymore, right?" Be like, huh? Look, kid, go out there. I need you to blow this game. What? That's what it looked like to me. It looked like somebody met him in the tunnel at halftime, probably put a gun to his head or something like that and said, man, look, you're going to lose this game. I mean, it looked like Tim Donaghy out in the mug or something. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know Tim Donaghy is, he's the referee in the NBA that was actually betting on games that he was officiating. He was a referee, and and he was actually betting on the games that he was officiating. So he actually went to jail for that. That's what it looked like. Like Josh Allen looked like Tim Donaghy or something like that. Like he bet on his own team or something, Pete Rose or something. Like what is you doing? Like some of them sacks that he was taking, like that lateral that he threw. Like what in the heck are you doing? Gee, like even like that sack, like you took your team out of field goal range. I don't know, man. Like just like, huh? Like what are you doing? But anyway, let's see. I can't believe the Bills blew that. Well, you know what they say. No one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. And they definitely circle the wagons. 16-0, and somehow the Bills let off the gas. Yeah, I don't know. Josh Allen choked. I'm nervous, man. I think a lot of people are Wyatt. Saints going to beat that butt tomorrow. I think we all hope that too. Appreciate the AB bust down, man. No problem, man. And look, I'm not going to talk about him no more. I just appreciate that Boxing Profits. Thank you very much. but we just gonna leave that dude where he at. We're not gonna empower him anymore. Everybody hit that like button. Yeah, please do. Please hit the like button. If you like it, fine. You can hit the check. If you don't like what I'm saying, you can hit the dumb down. As long as you watch it, I appreciate it. Good criticism, bad criticism. It is what it is. I will be close. It will be close for 2 quarters max. I don't know. I don't know about that one, Christ. I think it's gonna be a tough game. I think, like I said, I think it's gonna be like that 49ers game. I don't think it's gonna be high scoring, but I feel like it's gonna be have us on the edge of our seat, and have us like nervous and stuff. Iceman T, what's up, man? The last time the Saints, let me see, the Saints, us fans, were this confident was the Falcon game, and we all know what happened. We cannot overlook this team at all. They made the playoffs for a reason. Iceman, I totally agree with you, man. Like, I don't look past no team, like nobody. The Saints could be playing the Miami Dolphins or whatever, like during the season. And I'll be like, man, don't overlook them. They can be playing the Cincinnati Bengals. I'll be like, don't overlook them. Look, you got to go out there and you got to look, and respect that opponent. But, and understand that team has the capability of putting up points because they can. If you go out there and just look at the fact that this is Kirk Cousins and you just think that this guy is just going to fold, and you be like, oh, man, he going to crumble. Like, you can believe that if you want to. But this man can put up some points. I mean, this guy can throw for 300 yards. This guy can throw for 3 or 4 touchdowns. It's possible. Okay, so New Orleans Saints better, they better respect this man because, I mean, he can hurt you. And like I said, in the past, he's shown that he can throw that football. Like I said, that game that he played for the Redskins, I mean, the Saints could have easily lost that game. If the Saints don't play themselves, this will be a blowout. Yeah, first off, you can't have any penalties, man. You can't have too many penalties. All these double-digit penalties, all this hands to the face, all this holding. Man, none of that stuff right there. All these false starts, you got to leave that where it's at. You can't, you can't be giving up pass interference and all that kind of stuff down the field. You got to be able to, you got to be able to play mistake-free. Teams that don't make the mistakes in the playoffs end up moving on. Teams that make the mistakes end up at home. So they got to play mistake-free out there. They got to play some of their best football in these playoffs. Playoff games, you can't even know how it's going to shake out. I guess that's what you're saying. Anyone can beat anyone. So Saints players need to come to play lights out. Yeah, I agree. That's true. I mean, you can't underestimate anybody. You can't underestimate anybody, and you can't look past them. Like you got to go out there and you got to play your best football. Randy Russell said, "Why? Let's go black and gold." Man, I feel you, man. What's going on, Randy? Thank you for checking out the podcast. Paul says, yes, perform, Breeze. Yeah, Breeze got to perform, man. You can't be out here losing to these type of quarterbacks, man. And the defense need to step up, man. You can't be out here getting embarrassed by Kirk Cousins. The dome will be rocking tomorrow. That's what we all hope, Jerry. We all hope that the dome is rocking. I hope that the dome is rocking. I hope so. Let's see. Waking up at 6 a.m. to go to the dome. Who that? Oh man, you ready? Yeah, man. But if you're going to the dome, once again, be loud, be crazy, like go insane, like man, just make it tough for the Minnesota Vikings. What's up, TJ? What's going on, John? Thank you for checking out the podcast. Tier 1 says TJ. That's on Sean Payton. His inability to put together a solid defense has cost us year after year. You talked about it yourself. Then you say Drew Brees has lost over 24 quarter drives. Yeah, absolutely, Tier 1. But at the same time, we all know how the NFL is, and in ways it's not fair. But quarterback gets all the credit when they win, and he gets all the I guess backlash when they lose. People don't say the Saints defense gave up a game. They just say Drew Brees didn't win. So even though like he holds the record for most, go ahead touchdowns in the fourth quarter, only for his defense to give them up. So I mean, who knows? Like honestly, I was thinking about this as I went to Walmart today and had to go pick up a few supplies for my son, some wipes and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know why I was just thinking about this in my head, but can you imagine if Drew Brees and Sean Payton played in the AFC South, like how Peyton Manning played in the AFC South, or he played in the AFC East. Sean Payton was coaching, the Patriots, or he was coaching the Colts or something like that. Like, can you imagine like how many Super Bowls these two will probably have? Like playing in that sorry, pathetic excuse for a division. I just feel like, the reason why he doesn't get that much recognition is because he played in one of the toughest divisions in football, and he still does. The NFC South, even though it's down this year, it's anybody's division. When Peyton Manning was in his prime, when Tom Brady was in his prime, they played absolutely nobody, man. Played basically all teams that didn't have franchise quarterbacks twice a year. So if you knock those guys off, you basically win a division. No matter if you 9-7, 8-8, if you winning against basically backups and guys that, teams that probably to go to be the starter, of course you should win your division. But I feel like Drew Brees kind of suffers because of that. I feel like, because the NFC South is so good and so stacked and is anybody's division year after year, it takes away from that. But back to what you were saying, Till One, I do feel that way. I do understand, but that's just the way it goes, man. Like the quarterback is the focal point, period. Like you look at, I don't know, the Heisman trophies, you look at MVPs, most of the time it goes to the quarterback because that's the person that gets critiqued the most. So even though Drew Brees is not his fault that the Minnesota Miracle happened, it's not his fault that Beastquake happened out there in Seattle. It's not his fault about the controversial 9 call, but it happened, and there's nothing you can really do about it except, right the wrongs, and you can't lose to Kirk Cousins. You can't, you can't lose to Kirk Cousins. No matter how it happens, you just can't lose because that is going to, people going to look at that and be like, man, look who he lost to in the playoffs. But I mean, you can just say, look who he beat. I mean, he beat 3 Hall of Famers to win his first Super Bowl. Beat Kurt Warner, beat Brett Favre, and he beat Peyton Manning, who's a future Hall of Fame, first ballot, no doubt. So as his eligibility comes up, he going in. Let's see, 34-20 Saints. That's a lot. That's optimism right there. Drew will score only for the defense to blow it in 20 seconds left. Yeah, man, that sucks, man. They got to get it together. I can't, like, honestly, if the Saints just flat out lose this game because Minnesota was better than them that day, fine. I can live with that, okay? But I can't deal with no more heartbreak, man. I just can't. I can't deal with no more heartbreak from this team giving up big plays late in the game. Like, I'm over that. Like, for real. Like, I'm just over it. Like, just make a stop. You know what I'm saying? Like, just go out there, just make a stop, do your job. I just can't take it. I just can't take another. I just can't take another disappointing season. I just can't. I just can't. Like, if you lose, like, fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, it'll hurt, it'll suck, but last minute touchdown, last minute whip tackles, last minute down the field throws to set up field goals, I'm over that. They got to do something. Is Tim White going to be in the starting lineup? Probably not. I think they got him on the practice squad, if I'm not mistaken. Sean Payton needs to start Deontay Harris at wide receiver. Zach Holden, slow your roll, okay? Zach, I like what you're saying. But put this man back in the oven because he's not ready yet at the wide receiver position, okay? There's a reason why they got him doing jet sweeps, because they're taking advantage of his elusiveness and the way that he actually runs the football. He's not a very good pass catcher right now. To me, he could be the next Tyreek Hill. That's the way I look at him. Tyreek Hill was the same way. He was a very dynamic kick returner and punt returner when he first went to the Kansas City Chiefs. Andy Reid and his coaching staff polished him and turned him into a credible down-the-field threat. And I feel like Deontay Harris can get to that point, but there's a few things that people need to focus on. Sean Payton likes a certain type of wide receiver. Okay, it's not just the fact that he can actually catch the football. He got to be able to block for the running backs, and he also got to be able to understand, his assignments. Okay, he got to understand his routes. I don't think Deontay Harris is at that point just yet. I know a lot of people were talking about Emmanuel Butler coming in, Emmanuel Butler, but I like what the Saints are doing with this. I like the fact that they're actually holding this guy out till next season. They're getting this guy polished up. I mean, I went back and watched a couple of games that he played in. I mean, he left a lot, to be, desired out there on that field. His blocking was, it was awful. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even say, it was terrible. You got to be able to block besides just catching the football, man. I mean, being a wide receiver is much more than just dynamic plays. Okay. I mean, you got to be able to, do some of the dirty work and stuff like that. And that's the reason why I feel like people like Lil Jordan Humphreys and Keyshawn Hogan's actually started over these guys, because they struggled in a blocking game. And, man, Sean Payton likes a receiver that can actually block, and run those routes. And I don't think Deontay Harris is on that level yet, but I think that he will be probably next season. They're probably going to work with him in the all season. Between training camp, I think he'll be ready. But I like the way that they use him now. I mean, he plays with a lot of passion. I like the wide receiver screens they throw to him. I like the makes the best out of his, touches. So I like the way that they're going with that. I'm pretty sure they're probably going to set something up for him. Probably see him. You'll probably see him like run a wheel route or something like that. The Saints will probably be, show you something that they didn't show you in the regular season. That's normally how the playoffs go. You put your best stuff out there. Ted Ginn needs to step up, dude. Only got 29 catches. Mike T can't do everything. Iceman, you're absolutely right. I mean, he's gonna have to step up. Michael Thomas might get taken out of this game. Like I said, he's going to get his catches, but some guys got to step up. I mean, Traquan Smith is going to have to step up. Ted Ginn Jr. is going to have to step up. These guys are going to really have to go out there and really put their best foot forward. Traquan Smith last week, I mean, he did a good job. He led receivers. I mean, it was only 50-some yards, but just for him to catch those passes. And honestly, like I said, I said on the last podcast, I think they did that on purpose. I think that they actually got him fully involved in this game, because they know going up against the Minnesota Vikings, going up against them, that Michael Thomas is probably going to be neutralized. So any other team they would have played in that matter. And Traquan is going to have to step up. So I feel like they actually threw him all of those targets to kind of build up his confidence, to say our number two right now. Even though a lot of us are thinking the Saints need another number two, I mean, honestly, on the depth chart, he is the number two receiver. So if the Saints can get him involved, if the Saints can actually get him going, I think that that'll be a good thing. But we really got to see Traquan step up. We really do. Run the ball and control the clock. I feel like they need to run the football. Look, there's two things that I want in this game, okay? I need the Saints to utilize Alvin Kamara in the passing game. I need them to run the ball. They need to have a balanced attack. And they need to get pressure on Kirk Cousins. I mean, the offensive line is not that good. I mean, I looked at I looked at Smith from the Green Bay Packers, the Smith brothers, as I call them, man. They're both the edge rushers on left and right, both named of Smith. Preston Smith and Ladarius Smith or something like that. I can't think his first name, but they were really getting pressure on Kirk Cousins. I think it was Preston Smith, but he had 4.5 sacks in that game. I mean, this dude was lighting up Kirk Cousins. I mean, it was just embarrassing, the offensive line. The Vikings offensive line can give up sacks. So the Saints are going to have to get pressure on them. And in my honest opinion, I think they need to switch Cam Jordan over from the right to the left. Like they normally do. Sometimes you play on the left, sometimes you play on the right. But I think they need to put him on the opposite side, on the left side, and let him go at that left tackle, because that left tackle is very suspect for the Minnesota Vikings. And I think that Cam Jordan can actually get, I think he can get the best of that matchup. So they just need to get pressure on. Those are the things that I'm looking for, though. Cousins will fold like cheap Dollar Tree lawn chair. Uh, uh, I don't know, man. Like I said, Kirk Cousins is a weird guy. On 1 week he'll throw for 120 yards, and then the next week he'll throw for 320 yards. I mean, you don't know what type of Kirk Cousins you're gonna get. But I think he's gonna be dialed in for this game. And I think I think he's gonna play well. I really do. But the Saints are gonna have to knock him off his spot. That's the only way you're gonna win this game. It would be a blessing if the Titans put an end to the Patriots tonight. I think a lot of people are rooting for that, Jerry. A lot of people are tired of the Patriots. A lot of people are tired of looking at them always in the news, always in somebody's Super Bowl somewhere. I find it ironic the fact that finally the AFC East finally gets some credible quarterbacks in it, and the next thing you know, the Patriots aren't looking that good. I mean, it's amazing, right? When you're not playing against teams that don't have quarterbacks like they did over the past 20 years. So it's very interesting, So who knows, man? That game should be interesting. I think that the Tennessee Titans are a good football team. As long as the D-line gets going, we will put pressure on Cousins all game. I hope so. Those young players going to have to step up. Let's see. Vikings O-line is below average. They'll have issues against a very good Saints D-line. Yeah, they've been having issues all season long. They definitely have. Let's see. You see, but Harris only runs like a 4.5. That's true, man. But still, I mean, Tyreek Hill is super fast, but I mean, you still can use him in the same ways. We should have kept Brandon Cooks and Kenny Stills. I disagree with that. You look at the money that Brandon Cooks got, $70+ million of guaranteed money out there in Los Angeles. And I mean, you look at his career and it's unfortunate, man, but he's having a series of concussions, and we all know what the NFL does, when these players start getting concussions and stuff like that, they end up like telling teams, probably sending them letters saying, man, don't sign this guy. And this remind me of Austin Collie for the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, he kept on like getting these concussions and getting knocked out cold in the game. And next thing you know, he was just out the league. He was done. It was over with. I don't think that they should have kept Brandon Cook because you would have had to pay him like a top receiver. I think the Saints made the right decision. I mean, it was a decision that was going to eventually have to get made. It would have been down to Michael Thomas or Brandon Cooks and which one. And I think the Saints seen the upside of Michael Thomas, and they seen, what he can bring to the table. They seen that, they looked at Brandon Cooks and they pretty much seen what they actually had. They feel like, he basically reached his ceiling. But when it comes to Michael Thomas, I mean, he was just untapped potential. And look at him now. I mean, you look at their careers now. I mean, the Saints made the right decision. As far as Kenny Stills is concerned, I like Kenny Stills. I think that he was good for the Saints. But I don't know. I don't know if they should have kept him or not. I actually like Willie Snead when when he came along. I mean, the Saints, they needed, they needed some players, they made that trade. So Kenny Stills, he's a good player. I think he would have been a real good player for the Saints. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. I mean, I wouldn't have traded. I like Brandon Cooks when he was there, but I mean, he was just a fast guy. I mean, he just can get behind defenders. I mean, he wasn't elusive. He didn't really get yak yards after the catch. I mean, he was just a guy that could just get past. He could just get past you and outrun you. That's all he basically had. I mean, he was a decent route runner, but you can easily take him out of the game. So I don't think he would have been a number one receiver. I still don't think he's a number one receiver. I think Cooper Kupp is the number one receiver for the Rams, even though Brandon Cook is getting paid like a number one. Ted getting big time. If we get him the ball deep, which Noodle on Breeze can't do, which I love, Drew. But speaking of truth, we need to let Taysom throw the ball deep again. Treshaun, man. Oh my goodness, man. Hey, man, you always keep it real. 100, man. Shouts out to Treshaun, man. He called Noodle on. I mean, yeah, you telling the truth though. Drew Brees doesn't have a strong arm anymore. I think we all can agree with that. I do think they need to utilize Taysom Hill downfield throws, but I think they need to be careful with that too, because when they see him, it could get a little bit predictable. But I do think that they need to try to get the ball down the field. Hey, you can even put Teddy Bridgewater in the game for something like that. But I think with Taysom Hill, it gives you a different dynamic. You don't know if he's gonna run the ball. You don't know if he's gonna pass the ball. So I think that's pretty interesting. One bad game or a big turnover and it's over. Yep, that's how it goes. Harris is a 4.35 guy, but he is very elusive. In that respect, they are alike. Yeah, I do. Man, he has a lot of potential. He has a lot of potential to be a really good receiver. Let's see. 4.3 on pro day. We leave a lot of big plays on the field again because we can't get him the ball. I can't even disagree with that. A couple of them passes I seen him throw down the field. I mean, it was like 10 yards behind Ted again. He just can't get the ball down the field to him. Like I feel like when Ted Ginn's going, when he get past like that 30 yards from Drew, that's but I think they do need to use Taysom. I think he has a strong arm. He has a really strong arm. Let's see. Deontay dangerous. Yeah, he is. And they starting to respect him too in the punting game. They punting away from him. That shows you how much respect teams have for you. And this punter for the Minnesota Vikings, like, he really good, man. He like similar to Thomas Morstead as far as like his directional punting. So don't be surprised if you see a lot of directional punts and see a lot of punts that are away from Deontay Harris in this game. Let's see. So he's really a 4.5 laser. Brandon Cooks was very talented, but the money was going to be an issue. Yeah, I don't feel like honestly I like Brandon Cooks, but I don't think he's worth the money that Los Angeles paid him. I wonder how Mike T. Han is doing. He was limited at practice. The Saints probably were just keeping him out, just for precautionary measures. But he's going to be a go. I don't think that's going to be no problem. Rams will be in cap hell 2020. Yeah, all those players that they brought in is going to catch up with them. Do you think Taysom Hill will ever throw a pass to Drew Brees? That's interesting. You might see that. It have to be like some kind of special occasion, like a NFC Championship or a Super Bowl. You might see it though. Kenny Stills was a locker room problem. That is why he was traded. You had people like Junior Galetta and Akeem Hicks, old punk. But anyway, I just don't like Akeem Hicks, man. I'm just not a fan of him. Like this guy just like hates the Saints. Like he all like anytime the Saints lose, he tweeting. Like, dude, like, man, like, you were sorry for the Saints. You good now, but what was that when you were with the Saints? But they just had a bad locker room culture, and you had guys that were just in there to care. And I'm glad that the Saints, changed that locker room culture, after 2015, 2016 drafts. That's when everything just started to change after that. Let's see. I've been seeing Jalen Rager mock to us. I don't know what that is. I don't even know what that is. Tyreek Hill is a pig. Say he like Tariq. Cook was you talking about Tariq on Power? I'm just like I'm just joking. Man, hey, I'm gonna have to catch Power tonight though, man. After midnight, I'm gonna have to check that out. Well, and if you watch Power, man, who you think Hill goes? Or who you think Shot goes? We don't know if he did or not. But anyway, if you watch Power, man, I want to know, man, who you think Shot goes. Cook was a casualty of war, and we had a great first round pick for him. Yep, and the best right tackle in the game, Ryan Ramczyk. Absolutely, that was a win. That was a win for the Saints. What he said about his baby and acting in a threatening manner, they let you slide. You can do all kind of down bad, horrible, pathetic things. As long as you got that 4.3 speed, as long as you can get behind defenders, they'll let you slide. I mean, you look at people like Kareem Hunt, Tariq Hill, AB, guys like that. As long as you got that talent, they're gonna keep you around. You even put Josh Gordon in that thing. I wouldn't let him on my team. He's despicable. Breeze put up 46 points on a 9, and arm strength is overrated. Cries, I don't think arm strength is overrated, but I think that even though Drew Brees doesn't have arm strength, he has certain abilities that other quarterbacks don't have. Number one, he's extremely accurate, the most accurate quarterback in the game. Number two, he has really good footwork getting out of the pocket. He can evade, defenders. And most importantly, get the ball out. On time. The Saints offense isn't about like this splash plays like some of these other teams, like the Baltimore Ravens are right now, or some of these other teams that or even the San Francisco 49ers. They're more like time. They're a timing team. You run a route, all of a sudden turn around, that ball gonna be right there. If you can do those type of things, it doesn't matter if you have a strong arm, because you can get the ball where it needs to be. You're not going to be able to really blitz Drew Brees. You blitz him, he going to make you pay. He's just smart. He can just program, what you're doing inside of his mind and just go out there and just pick you apart. It's not about arm strength. People want that rocket arm quarterback, throw that ball. Like, honestly, a person that I've seen just have a super rocket arm and it just turned out to be really successful. There's only a few I can think of. Michael Vick was one. Patrick Mahomes is another. Aaron Rodgers doesn't have a rocket arm. Just look at but you look at these players that can throw the ball down the field 50 and 60 yards, they were trash. Chris Redmond or whatever his name. I think it was Redmond for the Baltimore. He was throwing 70 yards on his knees. Jamarcus Russell. Man, you just have like guys that I just seen they have these big arms, but they're not accurate. They don't have any other real qualities about him. But when it comes to Drew Brees, like I said, he has good footwork. He's extremely accurate. And I feel like those are the type of things that are going to keep me in the league for a long time. They don't have much to do with no arm strength. Let's see. Brandon Cooks is one concussion away from retirement. He had a lot. Yeah, I think he had like about 4, if I'm mistaken. It all started in that Super Bowl game, man, when Malcolm Jenkins knocked him out cold. And that's when he just started to get concussions constantly. And honestly, I don't think that's ever going to change. I think he's going to continue to have concussions. That's just me personally. I feel like that's just what it is. He's going to be that way until he probably retires. And hopefully he don't have any complications after he's, is all said and done, because he's still a young guy. I think he's like 27 or 28. Think the Saints should get Amari Cooper next year? Good question. I was going to say no, but I don't know. I think even though Amari Cooper is a good talent, I don't think he's the best talent. I don't feel like, honestly, he's a number 1 receiver. I feel like he's more of a number 2, but he's going to get paid like a number 1. I don't think the Cowboys are going to let him out, because that would be stupid on their part for you to give up a first-round pick to bring a guy in that you're not going to sign. But we are talking about the Cowboys. So, but if he would come in and, take a little bit of a pay cut and not trying to get paid like Michael Thomas, yeah. Hell no, he is an embarrassment. Way too expensive. Cooper costs too much. Yep. Saints gonna draft a wide receiver, dude. Yeah, they are. I feel like they are. Let's see. I doubt if we get Amari Cooper. Honestly, I don't want Amari Cooper. I would rather the Saints get a young wide receiver, a guy that they can actually bring into their system and actually, coach him up. If anything has taught us over these past few years, it's about nailing players in the draft. That's what it's about. Like, the reason why the Saints are so successful right now and they're able to go out here and get a Jared Cook and get a Latavius Murray to plug and place is because of these young draft picks, man. They ain't have to go out here and spend a whole bunch of money trying to get a free agent acquisition and come in and take up the majority of the bread. They got these guys they can put on rookie contracts, and these guys are performing at a high level. And that's why you have to win. Like this isn't just about Drew Brees' legacy. This is about the Saints franchise. Like there's going to be a lot of guys that are going to end up leaving this organization next season because the Saints won't be able to pay them. You got to win right now, man. Like all these young players that you had early, man, you got to start paying these guys, man. Or these guys are going to try to find greener pastures. So you got to be able to do this because this could possibly be your light rebuild. So they better do something, man. I think Tasha knew Boo shot goes because he think he is beating up on her. And that chick he was in the club with who were trying to get him to run for office. I don't think she did. I don't think she did. I don't think the chick that was like his campaign manager did it. Tasha knew Boo. That's interesting because I mean, I don't know if he showed up or not. I don't know if that's interesting right there. I didn't even think about that. He was asking about him. That's a good point. I don't know. Personally, I think Tariq shot him. I think Tariq shot Ghost. I really believe that. That's what I feel like did it. No Tariq Hill. Look up what he did to his girl. Despicable, low life, threatening little girls and kids. I hate abusive people. I think the Niners will get upset next week. Man, let me tell y'all something. I'm 100% honest with you. If the Saints win this game tomorrow, I feel like the NFC Championship game is going to be in New Orleans. And I'm hoping that the Seattle Seahawks beat the Philadelphia Eagles because that would mean that the Seahawks will go to San Francisco and play them for the third time, okay? And we've seen the first time they played them was in San Francisco. They beat them in overtime. The second time they were just 1 yard short. 1 yard short of winning that division. I feel like if the Seattle Seahawks go out to San Francisco, they can beat them. I mean, if Philly look up and beat the Seattle Seahawks, there's no way in the world that they're going to beat the San Francisco 49ers. Not happening. That is not happening. So hopefully Seattle can win this football game, man, so they can go to San Francisco. Hopefully the Saints have won their game earlier. And even I'm not looking past Green Bay, but I'm just saying if the Saints can just so happen to beat Green Bay and Seattle beats San Francisco, the NFC Championship game can be in New Orleans. New Orleans will be taking on the Seahawks. Man, that would be great. So I'm hoping Seattle win because I know if the Eagles win, it's over. It's over. Like San Francisco gonna beat the brakes out of them dudes. Let's see. Aaron Rodgers doesn't have a rocket arm. Nah, I don't. Like I don't think he have no rocket arm. I mean, those Hail Marys ain't fooling me. Like most of them Hail Marys, he was at the 50-yard line. Okay, you throw the ball 50 yards. That's about average for a quarterback. Man, I don't think he's throwing the ball 70 yards. Yeah, Brett Favre had a rocket arm. Yeah, he was one of them. Elway. I wouldn't say Elway had a rocket arm. Elway didn't have a rocket arm. Elway he could just throw the ball through a wall. You know what I'm saying? Like he just flicked the ball and it was like a missile. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't have like a real huge arm. He just had a powerful arm. Like when he threw the ball, man, he had that, you know what I'm saying, that snap on it. Brett Favre, yeah, he had a big arm. Vic had a cannon. Yeah, he definitely did. Vic can throw it, man. I remember that pass he threw to Deshaun Jackson when he played for Philly. That man was like on a 10. When that ball came down, that ball was like almost on a 20 when Deshaun Jackson caught it. I was like, God, dog, Vic. And he threw that ball like, wow. Like he had one heck of an arm. Dude, what are you talking about? Shy Tuttle came from out of nowhere. Shy Tuttle was a 5-star recruit. and most 5-star recruit goes to the next level and ball. He was ESPN 350 top commit. Oh, I don't know. Who was talking about Shy Tuttle? I guess there's somebody in the chat. I don't think I mentioned him. Did I say anything about Shy Tuttle? I guess he's talking about somebody in the chat. But I like Shy Tuttle. I think he's going to have a great NFL career. Breeze is the most accurate quarterback in NFL history. Yep. Let's see. How is Von Bell? Von Bell playing in this game. Von Bell gonna play, and Marcus Williams is too. They both were back at practice, and according to the list, the only people that are not going to be playing in this game that's going to be inactive is fullback Zach Line and of course Eli Apple, which to a lot of people's I guess happiness in the Who Dat Nation, people are happy that this man is injured. Like, I ain't feeling that, man. Look, we all can agree that this man ain't been playing up to his full potential. But people just be, happy and rejoicing at the fact that this man not playing because he hurt. Like, that's crazy. Like, be excited, you know what I'm saying? Like, for the team, but you can say that he wasn't playing well. I can take that, but cheering and stuff like that, like, man, just because this man hurt, like, I ain't feeling it. But those are only two that's on the injury report that's not gonna play tomorrow. Von Bell and Marcus Williams gonna play. Saints are going to go in Green Bay and beat them one game at a time, Derek. We have the better team. Look, we got to beat Minnesota tomorrow. Look, we can talk about Green Bay, and I know I mentioned that scenario about the Saints possibly having an NFC Championship game, but I'm not. I mean, like I said, I started that statement off with if they beat Minnesota. Amari Cooper is too inconsistent in his confidence. Fluctuates too much. Yeah, he gives up on plays too. Yeah, he is a little bit of a quitter, but that's the coach of the Dallas Cowboys, man. A bunch of prima donnas. First off, it's just the fact that Jerry Jones is so heavily involved with these guys. He coddles them. He basically gives them what they want. He's more like their friend. You can't have players like that, man. You can't be like that with players. There's got to have like a business type relationship with them. Bill Belichick does a good job at this. Bill Belichick, it feels like he's the coach and you're the player, okay? He's not trying to be a friend. He ain't trying to go out for drinks with you after the game. He ain't trying to hang out at your house for Christmas and Thanksgiving. He's a head coach, and he coaches the team. And I feel like it's just too much babysitting in Dallas. I feel like Amari Cooper is a guy, he has that millennial mind frame. Those millennials feel like they're entitled, like, when they don't feel like doing something, they don't want to do it. They ain't trying to put no work behind it. Amari Cooper just been getting by on his talent ever since he was in high school and he went to the University of Alabama. He was just always better. I just feel like, there's a difference. Like, do you want to just be good and just get by, or do you want to be great? I got a lot of respect for people that want to be great, that want to take it to the next level, that's never satisfied. Like, people always talk about Jerry Rice's work ethic. I think it was Steve Young telling the story. He was saying, like, they just won the Super Bowl. The next day, Jerry Rice was out there running routes, getting ready for the next season. Jerry Rice just always wanted to be great. Like, you look at Michael Thomas year after year. I mean, each and every year, statistically, his numbers improve. That's a guy that wants to be great, that's never satisfied with his production. I think with Amari Cooper, I think he's satisfied with his production. I think he just satisfied just being Amari Cooper, a guy that can catch a pass or two. I don't sense greatness inside of him, and that's probably why John Gruden decided to get rid of him, because he felt like this guy wasn't trying to be great. He was just trying to be okay and just getting by. You can't be like that, man. You can't just be a player that'll get by. I mean, you can. And you'll probably coast around the NFL for a couple of years, but nobody will ever remember you when it's all said and done. And I feel like anything that I do in life, I want somebody to remember me. I want people to remember me if I'm in. I'm never satisfied. Like, when I finish up these podcasts and I'm doing these live streams, I go back and I look at some of the things that I do, and sometimes I cringe at some of the things that I say or the way it's delivered. But I'm always trying to strive to be the best version of myself. And I feel like Mari Cooper, he doesn't do that, man. I don't feel like he just goes back or he puts in the work and the effort that he can possibly like some of his predecessors like Julio Jones and guys like that. He needs to really look inside himself and ask himself the question, like, do I want to be great or do I just want to be okay? 2020 draft is loaded. Yeah, it has a lot of talent in the 2020 draft, especially at the wide receiver position. I've been looking at a lot of these bowl games. Most of the I'll be looking at these bowl games because I'll be looking at some of these receivers that I just thought that the Saints may want to look at. Honestly, I feel like the next year, the next year draft, 2021, where you got Trevor Lawrence and stuff like players like that coming out of the draft. That wide receiver group is going to be crazy. Like you got Bateman out in Minnesota, or you got Pickens out there in Georgia. If Ruggs stay in college, he's probably going to be in there. I think Judy. There's a lot of talent at the wide receiver position in next year's draft. We need to wait on Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase. That's an interesting one. That's an interesting one right there. The other dude, Michael Gallup for the Cowboys, had balled in 2019. He was drafted in the 3rd round with Traquan Smith. Guys going in different directions. Yeah, Michael Gallup is a good player, man. He stepped up this season. I mean, he was balling out. Man, Traquan Smith, like I said, man, it is what it is. I just think that they probably just going to transition from him and probably lighten his workload next season. They probably going to end up drafting somebody else that they feel like can be a true number 2. Jordan Jefferson, LSU wide receivers are nice. Yeah, they are. Jamar Chase, yeah, bruh. Oh man, that dude gonna be gone so early. The Saints ain't gonna be able to touch that boy. Jefferson, Chase, Saints ain't gonna be able to touch them dudes. Dude's gonna be gone. Them dudes gonna be top 5 picks, and I just don't see the Saints picking in the top 5. Is Vine playing tomorrow? Yeah, he is. Eli out, Zach Line is out. Yep, thank you. Thank you for letting them know, Christ. Michael Alexander said Chase is a top 10, top 5, in my opinion. That dude is incredible. Traquan is not it, and I'm tired of people giving him excuses. Iceman, yeah. I can't give him too many more excuses. I just think he's serviceable. I think that the number 2 receiver is a little bit of a stretch for him. I think he more honestly. I think you need to put him in a slot, a little bit more. But you're probably going to, like I said, you're probably going to lighten his workload next year. They're probably going to get a number 2 in here on the other side of Michael Thomas, and they're going to ball out. They're probably going to have him in there. You're probably going to be on 3rd and 5 or something like that, a guy that, catching the slot. I don't think that they're going to increase his workload. I mean, honestly, just looking at him, it seems like it's just what you see is what you get from him. Cries, Apple got penalized too much. Yeah, man, he'll be a really good cornerback if he turned his head around. Let's see, at worst, Eli is good depth. Yeah, man, that's why the Saints didn't sign him back, and they pick up his 5th-year option. I mean, he's an unrestricted free agent next season, so he'll end up playing for somebody. I don't think he's gonna start, but he'll end up in somebody's rotation. Eagles supposed to get D-Jack though, supposedly if they win. Man, I just don't want the Eagles to win. I don't think the Eagles gonna win. Like, let's not forget the NFC East was horrible. Okay, I mean, this team was horrible. The Cowboys were horrible. Like, they just had an easy schedule down the stretch. They won 4 straight games. I won't take that away from them. Carson Wentz was balling out, but I can't see them beating the Seahawks, man. They were struggling against the Giants. Cries, glad the Saints signed Janoris Jenkins to fill the gap. Yeah, that was a much needed acquisition right there, man. You know, it's unfortunate that he had to end up leaving New York the way he is, but that was one heck of a pickup for the Saints. Do you think that this is Drew Brees' last year? Louisiana Hot Boy, thank you very much for the question. If the Saints win the Super Bowl, yes, this will be Drew Brees' last year. If they end up getting knocked out of the playoff this season, no, it probably won't be. If they get knocked out tomorrow, he definitely coming back. Divisional round, probably, you know what I'm saying? Like, he definitely coming back. NFC championship game, he probably, you know, think about it, but he'll end up coming back. The only scenario I see is if they win the Super Bowl, and because honestly, man, I just like Drew wants to win the Super Bowl because he wants his kids to be on that podium and experience that moment with him. That's honestly, that's the only reason why Drew's still playing. He talks about it all the time. He talks about the relationship, you know, that he has with his children and how much he loves that his kids can come to the facility with him and hang out and they can see him play and meet all their favorite heroes and stuff like that. That's what he's playing for, man. So I feel like if he won a Super Bowl, like there's nothing much more than he needs to do. I mean, he has every statistical passing record that you can have. And then he'll have 2 Super Bowls on his resume. I mean, you might as well just leave while you're on top. I mean, he ain't got nothing to play for anymore. I mean, we'll miss him in a Who Dat Nation, of course, man. I mean, this guy legitimately like changed the culture of Saints football. I mean, we are always gonna miss him, but at the same time, man, you know, I feel like this. You know, you want the fans to miss you. You know what I'm saying? You want them to be sad to see you go. You know what I'm saying? You don't want them to be happy to see you go. Even though Drew Brees is playing out his mind, you know, you want those moments to be remembered. Like, you don't want to go out like Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning was a shell of himself. Honestly, like that defense of the Denver Broncos basically carried him through the playoffs. And we don't want Drew to be like that. So I don't know, man. Like, I think, you know, we want Drew around for selfish reasons because, you know, we understand what he means to the Saints organization. But if he won a Super Bowl, I'd be highly surprised if he don't retire. Again, drop more balls than he catches. Yeah, he do drop a lot of passes, but that's been his career. Cries for tell me, genius, how many balls has he dropped? I'll wait, man. Y'all cut that out, man. Y'all going back and forth in the chat. Eagles playing with too many backups. I give them no shot tomorrow. Yeah, I think clock gonna strike midnight on them boys. Let's see, because people are saying this and that about Traquan, but I can remember him having a 10-catch game against Philly and a big game against the Redskins. They just don't target him. He makes some tough catches. Yeah, they don't target him enough. I mean, all I know is Drew Brees will throw to the cotton candy man if he open. He'll throw to the pretzel maker if he open. You know, like, so is his number not being called, or is he not getting separation? Because we know Drew Brees gonna throw it to the person that's open. So my question is, like, does Traquan get open? And do Drew Brees trust him enough? Because, man, just think about some of the passes he throwing to Jared Cook. That pass that he threw to Jared Cook when Eric Reed was on him, he threw that ball behind him. You know what I'm saying? He threw that ball behind him and he one hand snagged it, okay? It wasn't like he threw it directly at Jared Cook. The way that he throws the ball at Jared Cook is like he trusts him to go up and get it. When he throws the ball to Traquan Smith, it seems like to me like Drew feels like he has to throw it directly to Traquan. Like, he can't like throw the football to Traquan in traffic like he can Michael Thomas or Jared Cook. You know, like he feels like he has to throw it directly to him. So I feel like Drew Brees is smart enough to know his players' tendencies. And, you know, I just feel like he don't trust him, you know, to that point. I feel there are certain players that are what you call matter-of-fact catchers. You know, like it's right there in front of you, so you're going to catch it. Okay, it might be if it's kind of slightly behind you, you're probably not gonna catch it. You know, like he's that type of guy. Runs a route, you know, like 10 and in, 1, 2, 3, 10 yards, turn around, catch the ball. You know, that's it. I'm running across the middle. I got separation. He gonna catch the ball. But if it's if he's in traffic or something like that, I don't count on Traquan Smith to catch the ball. I mean, I don't see it enough. I mean, he caught that pass, with Casey or whatever like that, and his helmet got knocked off, but I mean, I don't see that enough for me to say that, Drew trusts him like that. TJ, do you think Butler will be on the field next season? He shows so much promise and Derek, I do. I talked about that earlier, about Emmanuel Butler. I just think that the Saints are kind of redshirting him this season. Getting him coached up, working alongside Michael Thomas, working on his blocking game. I like it though, man. Look, I understand we want to see this guy, and I mean, wow, I understand. A 6'4", 225-pound guy we see every single week sitting on the sideline in the Saints hoodie. And we like, why this dude don't play? But I like what the Saints are doing, man. You get this guy in there, you build up his confidence, you turn him into the, to the prototype that you want, like the guy that you want, the receiver that you want to service certain things. Who knows? I mean, this guy could be the possible number 2 next season. We don't know. I like the fact that the Saints are redshirting him. I mean, he might end up being, what's his name, Adrian Arrington or whatever. Or he might end up being Brandon Coleman. Brandon Coleman. Or he might end up being Marcus Colston. We don't know. Like a lot of people comparing him to Marcus Colston. So, only time will tell. But I like the fact that they sitting him out redshirting him. So I think that's a good look. Can somebody please give me the score of the Titans-Patriots game? Because I'm not watching it anymore. So can somebody give me the score of the game? I really appreciate that. It will be a sad day when Drew leaves us. Yeah, it would. It would be. It'll be a very sad day. We don't want to see Drew Brees leave, but I mean, all players have a shelf life. And honestly, like I said, I just don't feel like he'll have anything to play anymore, except for him, trying to, keep pace with Tom Brady. And people are saying this: if Tom Brady loses this game, this might be his last game in Foxborough. He might end up going somewhere else. Hope he turns it to can't guard Butler. Yeah, I hope so. 14-13, Tennessee up. Okay. And it's Tennessee's ball. Okay. So I'm going to give my final thoughts on this game, Wildcard weekend. Thank y'all for checking out the podcast once again, the live. This is going to be an interesting game for the New Orleans Saints. I think that this is going to be an exciting game. The New Orleans Saints got to win this game, in my opinion. Number one, I just can't take any more disappointment from this team. Man, Lord knows I can't. Number two, I just feel like the Saints are better than the Minnesota Vikings. Hopefully they know that they're better than the Minnesota Vikings and they go out there and perform tomorrow. I'm looking for communication in the secondary. I'm looking for improvements, to that I've seen over the past couple of weeks in the secondary continue. I'm looking for guys to be sure tacklers. I don't need any shoestring tackling. I don't need anybody around here whiffing on tackles. I need people to wrap up and really tackle. I need the Saints offense to be aggressive. If they get the ball first, I want them to get the ball and drive it downfield, set the tone, get those first 15 plays and get in the end zone. I want them to be playing in front throughout this entire game. I want them to be able to impose their will. I want the fans to really get loud in the Superdome to make problems for the Minnesota Vikings. And I want the defense to get pressure on Kirk Cousins. You stop the run with Dalvin Cook and you get pressure on Kirk Cousins. I think if the Saints do these things, they cut down on the penalties, they run the football, and they get a good balanced attack, I think they're going to win this football game. Like I said, it's going to be close because I got a lot of respect for the Minnesota Vikings. I'm saying 27-23. I think the Saints are going to win this game. They're going to go to the divisional round to take on the Green Bay Packers. And I think it's just going to be exciting. I'm just hoping that we just don't have a letdown, man. I just hope so. I can't take any more of that. If I see Marcus Williams whiff on the tackle again, I see a guy, streaking down the field because another dude slip on the ground or something, looking up at the lights. Y'all not going to like that podcast tomorrow. Y'all not going to like it at all. But I think that the Saints are past all that. I think that they want to right the wrongs of a couple of years ago, even though they don't want to admit that. I think the Saints got a lot of good young players that can make some noise in this game, and I think they're going to make their presence felt. So this has been the State of the Saints podcast. Once again, check out the State of the Saints podcast audio on Spotify and anchorfm.com. I just recently put up a brand new episode number 2. You can check that out. Also, if you have not already subscribed to the YouTube channel, youtube.com, search State of the Saints podcast. Check out Facebook, facebook.com, search State of the Saints podcast. I'm also on Twitter at SOTS Podcast 8, SOTS Podcast 8, and on Instagram at TJ Jones _. Thank you all once again for everything that you all do. Like, chatting, giving me feedback, sending your emails. Thank y'all so much. I will see you all tomorrow. And hopefully we're talking about a Saints victory and them going to Lambeau. Okay. But you all have a good night. Like always, all I got to say is, who dat?